What if doing nothing was actually the most powerful thing you could do? Today, we're going to dive into a powerful tower story about a guy the whole village thought was useless. His name was Shen, and he understood a kind of wisdom that, well, it could change everything.
Right out of the gate, the story hits you with this line. Shen says to a young, ambitious man, because control is usually just fear wearing armor. Just let that sink in for a second. It cuts right to the heart of our need to manage and force every little thing in our lives.
So this story is really a tale of two completely different mindsets. First up, we meet Shen. The villagers call him the man who did nothing. And yeah, while everyone else is rushing around, arguing and fighting, he's just watching, listening, letting the world be.
On one side, you have Wei. He's bright, he's ambitious, he's probably a lot like us. He truly believes you have to fight the world and control it to get ahead. And then you have Shen. He moves slowly, he listens, he just watches the water. He isn't fighting anything at all, a completely different approach to life.
So of course, these two are going to clash. Wei confronts Shen, basically telling him he's wasting his life. But Shen's response is this incredibly simple question that just cuts right through everything. He asks, "Tell me, Wei, do you want to control your life?" Wei's like, "Of course I do." And Shen's answer is just chilling. He says, "Then you will suffer."
And it's almost like the universe heard them, because right then, this whole philosophy gets put to the ultimate test. A force of nature shows up that you just can't argue with, and that brings us to the main event, a wall against the river.
We're not talking about a little spring shower here. The story says the river wasn't just higher, it was angry. I mean, it's throwing around tree trunks and rocks, roaring like some kind of beast. It's pure, raw, uncontrollable power.
So how do the villagers react? Exactly how you'd expect, with heroic, brute force. It's all action. Stack the stones, drive the stakes, tie the ropes, raise the wall. They're pouring all of their panic and their pride into building this massive barrier, totally convinced that their strength can beat the river's strength.
But while everyone is frantically building this wall, Shen, the man who does nothing, is just standing off to the side. And he asks one simple, devastatingly smart question. Where will the water go? But nobody even stops to answer. They're way too busy fighting.
And, well, you can probably guess what happens next. A river is going to do what a river does. It finds the weakness. That huge wall, built with so much effort and pride, it holds for a moment, and then it's just gone. It collapses. All that brute force was no match for nature.
Okay, so the wall collapsing, this is the big turning point. Wei gets swept away by the water, and it's right here in all that chaos that he finally understands. And you know who saves him? Shen. Not by fighting the current, but by just being this steady, guiding presence in the water.
After he saves Wei, Shen explains exactly why their plan was doomed from the start. You cannot stop it with pride, he says. You cannot command it with force. You must give it a way to go. The lesson is so clear, isn't it? You can't defeat the river. You have to work with it.
And this is the core idea right here. A wall feels like power. It's you versus an enemy. It's born from pride. But a channel, that's different. It feels a bit like surrender. It's not a command, it's more like a suggestion. It's quiet. And it works with the flow, not against it.
And the channel works beautifully. Instead of a huge barrier, the villagers dig a new path for the water. And the river just turns. Why? Because it was simply easier for the water to turn than to keep fighting. They didn't beat the river, they guided it. And the village survived.
Let's just break this down. The wall, that's all about forceful opposition, driven by pride and panic, and it leads to destruction. The channel, though, that's about effortless guidance. It's about redirecting, and it comes from a place of surrender and wisdom. The result? Survival. It's all about the mindset behind what you're doing.
So, after all this drama, the flood, the failed wall, the channel that worked, the villagers are finally looking at Shen in a whole new way. They realize his doing nothing was actually something profoundly effective. And this leads to the big reveal.
The village leader, completely humbled, just looks over at Shen and asks the question that's on everybody's mind. He just whispers, "What do you call this?"
And Shen finally gives it a name, Wu Wei. But he's quick to correct them. It doesn't mean doing nothing. He says, not nothing, nothing forced. That's such a huge distinction. Wu Wei is effort without the struggle. It's action that works with the world instead of trying to fight it all the time.
Okay, that's a cool story. But what does this ancient idea mean for us today? This is where we bring it home. It's time to start thinking about your own river.
Why, who is now a total believer, asks the essential question we're all thinking. So, how do I use Wu Wei in my life? This is where the lesson gets really personal.
And Shen points out all the modern rivers we're constantly fighting. Think about it. We fight against time. We fight traffic. We fight algorithms. We fight other people's opinions, especially online. We fight the past. We even fight our own nature. Heck, we even fight silence, just filling every second with noise. We're constantly building walls.
And Shen's final piece of advice is just so beautiful in its simplicity. He says, a small stone, placed well, can redirect a flood. This tells us that Wu Wei isn't about some grand, heroic gesture. It's about the small, smart, well-placed actions that work with the flow of things. It's about leverage, not just brute force.
And it's so important to get this last point. Wu Wei is not the art of giving up. It is not about being passive or lazy. It is the art of stopping the unnecessary war. It's about saving your energy for what actually matters instead of wasting it on battles you are never going to control anyway.
So, I'll leave you with the same question the story leaves us with. Take a look at your own life, your career, your relationships, your goals, and just ask yourself honestly, am I building a wall when I should be making a channel?